Is it just me, or is Sergio Perez the only driver in Formula One history whose brand actually went up after he got the boot? Sergio Perez is a surprisingly good driver who had a really, really bad 2024 season. And man, I could go into some theories. I think maybe they tortured him in the basement, tied him up to some electrodes or something and made him repeat, I will not drive faster than Verstappen, because we got to remember in 2023, first race of the season, Verstappen wins Bahrain. And then Perez wins Saudi Arabia, which is the next one. And then Verstappen wins Austria, which is the next one. And then Perez wins Azerbaijan. And so at this point, Sergio Perez is rightfully, feeling himself. And I can't remember the quote, but he said something like, maybe we both can fight for a championship. And after that, I kid you not, from Miami on, the only non-Max Verstappen win in 2023 was Carlos Sainz. So Perez won 2, Carlos Sainz won 1, and Verstappen won the rest. Now, before you go saying that, I'm just hating on Verstappen and, give Verstappen his flowers and whatnot. Verstappen's a great driver, but I'm just saying that Sergio Perez was actually a great driver too. And I really think that either one, they tweaked Sergio Perez's car going into Miami, or I think maybe what is more likely, they prioritized design and the upgrades toward what Max Verstappen wanted, versus taking any of Checo Perez's feedback. And Max Verstappen is, a very particular driver, and he's, well known for wanting a razor sharp nose. And the T valve, let's not forget, the T valve would give you some of that front axle handling bias. So it's putting it out there. However, I don't really know Checo's driving style that well, but clearly, as they were developing the car toward Max and away from Checo, it caused problems. And I think that quite possibly there's some neglect as well toward Checo's car, to the point where it just ended up being, an undrivable mess. And I think, unfortunately, they kept that philosophy even after they got rid of Checo, and basically told Liam Lawson, come in and drive this mess that Checo can't handle. And as it turned out, Liam Lawson couldn't handle it either. So now Checo Perez, he's already getting some sweet, sweet redemption in the press. And he says, and this is according to Formula1.com, Sergio Perez says he's talking to a few teams about a potential return to the Formula One grid in 2026. However, the Mexican insists he'll only return if the project makes sense. I mean, that is a flex. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll come back, but I mean, I'm not that bothered. Let me see what you got. Let me see what you got. Let me kick the tires first. Let me sample the paycheck. Let me have some meats and cheeses. Like, I'm not really that bothered, but yeah, I mean, if it makes sense, I'll come back. Yeah, Perez, he played a key role in 22 and 23 in helping Max Verstappen win the championship. And then, due to what I still think is some questionable decision making, he did what he did in Abu Dhabi 2021. I know that a lot of people are like, yeah, Minister of Defense. In my opinion, just my opinion, what he did was actually crappy sportsmanship, crappy driving. And I think that early on, he did it because he was trying to, I don't know, kind of, I don't want to say kiss up, He was trying to play that role in the Red Bull team, the second driver's seat, where that the second driver will like sacrifice anything to make sure that the team wins, especially the principal driver. But I think in that race, Checo kind of even overdid that to the point where I was personally a bit put off by the whole scene. But that does not take away from the fact that he's really good. Instantly, sorry, I'm all hopped up on 0% beer. Personally, I think that with Liam Lawson, not doing well in the car, people's initial thoughts were, can we get Checo Perez back in the car? I think that relationship was so poisoned due to, I'm going to speculate, internal politics, I'll say, that he was probably happy in hindsight to get away from that. And then Liam Lawson just made his reputation even better. We'll see how Yuki Tsunoda does. If Tsunoda does well, then Red Bull will really just have to face the fact that they should have gone with him in the first place. If he doesn't do well, I don't think that it's really going to harm Yuki Tsunoda that badly, because people are going to be like, how many drivers does it take before you guys figure out that you had to fix your car? Fix your effing car. Yeah. If Sergio Perez comes back with like a Cadillac and is battling for podiums, oh my gosh. I think, I almost said Marco Rubio. I think Helmut Marko and Christian Horner, I think it wouldn't be the end of their careers, clearly. It would just be like, it would be mad disrespectful, and I'm actually kind of here for it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. And of course, let the best driver win. If it's Max, it's Max. In that particular scenario, I'm not a never maxer. Like his driving most of the time. I respect it. This is kind of a philosophical question. And that question is, car manufacturers, are governments, are they going in the wrong direction for pedestrian safety and just safety in general? I mean, I think by the time they have done all of the safety measures that they're talking about wanting to do, we're going to be driving around in a bunch of pillows, because cars are the design, they're already getting like softer and rounder and literally squishier. I mean, there's a reason why the hood now has to be bulbous. It's because it needs to be able to deform in the case of an incident. This is Lamborghini's. Actually, you know what? I'm going to read just the first paragraph. This is Road and Track. It was published on April 1st. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration wants to make passenger cars safer for pedestrians. That also means more work for designers. So I'm going to read this first part so that we can build some context here. When Lamborghini's Countach Quattrovalve officially arrived stateside for 1986, its domestic market modifications were almost comically ad hoc, since the mid-engine supercar was designed with a nose too low for our bumper impact standards. Tested at 16 to 20 inches, it wore tacked-on bumpers that looked far more gaudy than Gandini. The one up front resembled a soft sculpture Groucho Marx mustache. The one in the back, a child's drawing of a crenulated parapet. Okay, I don't know what that means. But fast forward, one of the new design chiefs, since 2016, he said, I think everyone was a little bit surprised by those requirements and were caught trying to find answers, says Micha Borkit, Lamborghini's design chief since 2016. But this huge US bumper was really crazy. If I would come today with such a solution, I think everyone would send me home or to the moon. I mean, that's funny. I'm going to try to find a picture of that because in my recollection, the European model versus the American model, it was kind of funny. Let's see, automotive designers may face similar challenges in coming years in response to an ongoing epidemic of pedestrian fatalities in the US, up 57% from 2013 to 2022. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration proposed a new federal motor vehicle safety standard in September of 2024. This rule aims to ensure that passenger vehicles with a gross weight rating of up to 10,000 pounds are designed to mitigate the risk of serious to fatal injury in child and adult pedestrians. Now, this is the part that I wanted to talk about. When I was asking the question, are we going in the wrong direction? When I drive down my neighborhood, I see kids, riding their bikes in the street, or even older kids, like teenagers, the ones that that you'd think would know better. When I was in Seattle, a lady wandered into the street with her dog. It was rush hour. Cars are going moderately fast. She just wanders into the street and started cussing out anybody who failed to slam on their brakes fast enough. And no, she wasn't, some kind of, drug induced crazy lady or anything like that. It was just a regular lady with a major sense of entitlement. And I think between 2013 and 2022, cell phone applications and all that kind of stuff have just become, so much more sticky. People, they can't put their phones down. So I think there is actually a lot there's a lot at play here. And then I also wonder about the mentality, because if everyone thinks that their car is going to save them, then they're not going to think about saving themselves. And I think people will just kind of get progressively stupider if we keep making the cars, more and more cushiony. Now, I do want to say that, of course, I don't want anyone to get hurt, maimed, injured, or unalived due to a car of any, design, of any era, of whatever, because that's terrible. But I think that we both, drivers and pedestrians, both have a role to play in keeping everyone safe. Pedestrians, I can't believe I'm even needing to say this out loud. You got to look both ways. And at the end of the day, you got to yield to the car. It weighs a lot more than you, and it's made of metal, rubber, and steel, and you're not. It's going to win every single time, no matter if you were right or not. So I think, pedestrians, we got to get safer out there. I'm guilty of looking down at my phone and walking at the same time. I really try not to. And, I see some people that don't really try not to. And then, drivers as well. I really try not to check any phone messages or text messages or whatever, while I'm driving. And that's not necessarily the case for everyone. So I think awareness and kind of getting back to the basics, the idea that driving is driving. It's an activity in and of itself. You don't need another activity on top of driving. Just do one thing at a time for once. Gosh darn it. But yeah, I think that we need to kind of collectively get our heads back in the game across the board, whether it's driving or, a whole bunch of other, simple mundane activities or whatever. Just, we got to get our cognitive functioning firing on all 8 cylinders again, guys. Got to take it serious. Still joke, But, whatever. Anyway, that kind of got deep. Paintbrush says that it is time to cut this one off because I've been going at this for like 17 and a half minutes. All right. Well, I've been Dalton. This has been the Petrolist, and you have been great. Yeah. See you next time. I'm out.